Hello, friends. This Friday evening is the first night of Passover. For many of us, it will be the first Passover in 2 years that we will be able to gather together with family and friends in person. While many of us have managed to conduct our Seders the last 2 years over Zoom, it was not the same as being together. Passover is the only holiday in our tradition that is completely conducted around the dinner table. Sharing a festive dinner, eating all of the symbolic foods, matzah, moror, charoset, karpas, the greens we dip in salt water, cannot really be done so well virtually. So friends, a few last minute bits of advice for your upcoming Seders. First and most important, the central practice around the Seder table is not, I repeat, is not reading the Haggadah. The Haggadah is actually not meant to be read. It is meant to serve as a guide to move through the Seder. Seder is, of course, the word for order, the order of the holiday celebration. In fact, the central spiritual practice of the Seder is to share our stories, share our truths in a safe and loving environment. I can't think of many things more boring than an endless drone of people reading aloud from the Haggadah. The Haggadah is meant to be a trigger for ongoing, meaningful discussion about our own struggles with enslavement and freedom. The spiritual directive of Pesach and of the Seder is to tell the story as if you yourself were there. Many of our greatest rabbis and teachers understand this to mean tell your own story, your own struggle with what is holding you back from being your most authentic self. If all we did was go around the table and share this, what are the obstacles that keep us from being who we truly wish to be? What a dynamic, engaging, and I might add, very traditional Seder we would experience. We could still tell, not read, the story of our people's liberation from Egypt as a motivation to speak our own truths about the forms of enslavement we experience today, right now, in our lives, and address our own struggle to become more free, to be who we really are. We could taste the dryness of the matzah, the bitterness of the moror, the texture and taste of the charoset. All of these symbolic foods guide us to engage an embodied experience of Pesach, Passover. If we only talk about the 10 plagues of Egypt and don't address the plagues of our contemporary moment, Passover becomes something as dry as the matzah we munch on. Amazing things have happened at the Passover Seder. Many of them were not easily talked about. For instance, the Seder that is referenced in the Haggadah, with the great 2nd century of the Common Era sages, Rabbis Eliezer and Joshua, Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Tarfon, and Rabbi Akiva, all gathered together in the town of Bnei Brak. It says in the Haggadah that they were so engaged in their discussion of the Exodus from Egypt, which continued throughout the night, that they were startled when their disciples interrupted them by saying, "Our teachers, the time has come to recite the morning Shema." What would it mean for this group of sages who lived under the oppressive power of the Roman Empire? What would it mean for them to be discussing the Exodus from Egypt all night long? Their own struggle with freedom was quite obvious, and they were challenged to stand up against Rome and support the messianic figure leading the political rebellion, a charismatic warrior named Shimon Bar Kokhba. The Haggadah says, "We are the heirs of these teachers. Like them, we come together tonight to discuss the exodus from Egypt. Despite all that threatens to separate us from one another and our tradition, fires of terror, wastelands of affluence, seas of indifference, we come together to ask questions and to learn the lessons of Exodus for those of us who live in freedom." In the Haggadah called The Open Door, it says, and I quote, "At every Seder table, we celebrate our inheritance, challenging questions and provocative answers, discussions that reach across differences of age and experience. The time has come to embrace this story as our own. The time has come to honor each generation reading this story anew. The time has come to join hands with all who dream of freedom. The time has come." If your Seder is not alive with discussions about our contemporary moment, how we've come through the narrow places, the constricted place of COVID that we've struggled with for 2 years, if we don't talk about our fears, Ukraine, climate change, we're missing the point of the whole wonderful spiritual celebration. We all know where we are stuck. We all know where we are held back. Talk about it around the Passover Seder table. Bring Passover alive. Make it be about our real lives, and it will be everything it was meant to be. I want to wish everyone in our community and all of our loved ones and friends a Chag Sameach, an experience of this amazing holiday that asks us to speak our truth and declare what is in our way. May this invitation to become God wrestlers bring us meaning and help us clarify our purpose. Stay safe and be well. Shalom uvracha, peace and blessings.